Welcome to an online presentation on self-determination. Today we'll talk about the program itself and what it means to be in it. We'll go over some key terms you'll hear throughout the presentation. We'll talk about how being part of the self-determination program is different from how you are currently receiving services. We'll go over some key things you need to know about self-determination. We'll talk about how self-determination works and some of the things that are specific to the self-determination program. At the end of this presentation, you'll understand how to be put on a list of candidates for possible enrollment in the self-determination program and what the next steps are. If you're interested, by viewing this presentation today, you've completed the first step in the process. Before we get started, here are some terms you'll hear throughout the presentation. Some of these titles and people you may be familiar with, and some you may not. We'll talk about them in more detail throughout the presentation. Person-centered planning, a way to assist people to help them describe what they need in order to bring purpose and meaning to their life. Individual Program Plan, IPP, the document the Regional Center Service Coordinator writes with you to outline your services and supports using the person-centered planning process. Regional Center Service Coordinator, the person at the Regional Center who helps you with the services and supports in your life. Independent Facilitator, the person you may choose to help you work through the self-determination program. Financial Management Services, the person who helps you manage the money in your individual budget. Individual budget is the amount you can spend on the services you need. The program has 5 principles that are part of the law. They are freedom to plan a good life, authority over your personal resources, support for building a life in the community, responsibility and pride in making your own decisions, confirmation of the important role you play. Freedom. The principle of freedom means you have the same rights as everyone to choose family and friends that can help, where you want to live, how you want to spend your time, and who supports you. Authority. The principle of authority means you have a budget and you get to decide exactly what to spend that money on in order to reach your goals. Support. The principle of support is the ability to choose what you need to meet your personal goals and to hire people that will help you live the life you want in your community. Responsibility. Responsibility is that you are accountable for your budget and the way the money is spent. Confirmation. In the self-determination program, confirmation means you play a critical role as the person who makes decisions. You and your family get to choose the services and supports that will help you accomplish the goals in your IPP. Simply put, in the self-determination program, you have an individual budget from which you can purchase what you need and want. This budget gives you more choices and flexibility to choose what services and supports you need to meet your goals and who helps you. You can choose to work with your friends and family or an independent facilitator. In addition to these people, you will have a financial management service provider of your choice and continue to work with your Regional Center Service Coordinator. Most importantly, the focus of the self-determination program is you. You determine where you go and who you spend your time with. Next, we're going to watch a video created by the Department of Developmental Services, the state agency that funds Regional Center Services. The video will show you what it's like to be in the self-determination program. This film features many individuals and families who are participants in the self-determination pilot project, in which more than 200 people have participated in a successful test of self-determination since 1997 at 5 different regional centers. TCRC is one of the 5 regional centers involved in the pilot project.
I am Santi Rogers. I'm the Director of the Department of Developmental Services. It's an honor to share with you the unbelievable success we've had of creating a pathway of freedom for individuals we serve and their families. It's called self-determination. Self-determination is built on some very basic principles that you and I live by. The opportunity to make choices of where you live and with whom you're going to live. It's a personal freedom, and that personal freedom is best exhibited when you're in your own place. Your family is intimately involved, and part of that is an extension of a good life.
Hi, my name is Willie West. I've been in the Self-Determination Pilot Project at the Redwood Coast Regional Center for the last 15 years. When I entered the pilot, I was 18 years old, and it was a lottery system. And I didn't know if I was going to be part of it or not. And I didn't even know what it was going to be, but I was all for it. I was all for change. The Self-Determination program has changed my life a lot. It helped me grow as a human being. I could live independently. And I got an awesome job at the Redwood Coast Regional Center. I'm part of society, and it just feels wonderful. The service that I find the most beneficial is community living. I have a caregiving company that comes in the morning to help me get up out of bed. I have transportation, and I have advocacy.
We have a child with a very, very rare chromosome condition. And I think the fact that we have the options and the choices, it's hard, but it's not as hard.
I don't know how we would do it without self-determination. I honestly don't. It has been that good for our family and for our child.
We have an 8-year-old son named Oscar Antonio who's been diagnosed with Down syndrome.
It did take some time for us to understand what were the options, what was the help, and the regional center was where we first walked in, and they've been amazing. They've helped us tremendously.
Self-determination will give us flexibility, and we fully expect he'll have the lifestyle that he merits and deserves.
Well, the starting point for us is that we have principles that have been established through our pilot that for us there are just 4. Freedom, that's freedom of choice. Authority over the services and products that we choose to have. Support from the regional center because it is responsible for providing things that may be helpful to our child to promote his cognitive development as well as physical health, safety, and quality of life. And then 4th, and importantly, is responsibility. And responsibility is really accountability for the funds that we receive to expend on services and products.
My name is Maria Marquez, and I was the first person in the state of California to have my budget signed under the Self-Determination Pilot Project. Each participant under the Self-Determination will have their own individual budget, and that budget is for the whole year, where they get to pick and choose their services and pull out of their budget. Like my budget, what I used it was to get a computer so that I can get a good job.
Your budget is based on your plan, and your plan is what your needs are for the year. And then your budget is how much money the regional center will spend on what you need for the year.
You know what the funds are that you're going to receive, and then at the end of each month, you submit a report that tells you what you started with, what you expended your funds on, what was left over, how the funds have been expended, and what has actually occurred. That requires work. That's the responsibility part.
You have to do some more.
Self-determination gives us the ability to really create a customized program for our son. And at the end of the day, it's not really us. It's going to be what he wants.
You have more flexibility and self-determination to say, he doesn't fit in this slot, but I think we can create a new slot.
With self-determination, the door is open. We can access those services and don't have to wait for a long time. We'll be able to create a self-centered plan specific for him.
You can sign up for the Self-Determination program by going to the informational meetings, talking to your service coordinator, and even talking to your family about it so that everybody's aware of what's going on.
For anyone who's interested, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is that you let your regional center know and make sure that you attend the first orientation, which explains to parents the responsibility and all the work, because there is a lot of work, but it's also all worth it.
You've heard from some of the hearts and strong feelings of both people who are going to be participating in self-determination, as well as their parents who are going to support those participants. It's a great celebration that we are experiencing. Imagine that, a good life. What are the components of a good life? It's the opportunity to make decisions for yourself.
I am self-determined and I am in control.
Yo estoy en control.
Kimi no wa watashi.
My country, Nina. I am and all one.
So I went home and I told my parents over dinner, I'm going to move out on my own. And they go, when's that going to happen? I go, in the next 6 months. And I didn't know if that was going to be the truth or not, but that was my goal. And a year later, I moved out on my own, and my mom said that it would never work because with my disability and all the stuff I need help with. I've been living out on my own now for 13 years.
The way the self-determination program works is different from the way services are delivered right now. Right now, your service coordinator from the regional center is the person who helps you find the services you need. The things that make self-determination so exciting is that it gives you flexibility in choosing your services, supports, and providers. In the self-determination program, you can buy different services, not just those through the regional center. The program offers a lot of flexibility. Services can include, but aren't limited to, individual training, vehicle adaptations, or support with communication. Your services and supports can be from almost anyone in the community. In self-determination, you get to decide who else you want to help you. This could be your family or friends, or an independent facilitator, which we'll learn more about later. In self-determination, there will be money in a budget, and you will choose which services and supports to have to meet your goals. Self-determination offers you the opportunity to be creative, think outside the box, and make your own plan for how you want to live. As you determine what services and supports will help you meet your goals, here are some things to consider. It's all about choice. You choose what services you need and who will be providing them. You decide how someone will help you throughout your day or at home to do the things that are important to you. The goals you have for your life help you decide which services you need. You will have people in your life help you find those services. People like friends and family, or professionals you can hire, whomever you choose. Services have to adhere to the new rules, also called the, quote, final rule from the federal government. The final rule was put in place to make sure that people receive services that support full access to their communities. The final rule also talks about independence in making life choices, as well as rights to privacy, dignity, and respect. Being part of the self-determination program means your services will follow the new rules as soon as services start. Rather than thinking about the self-determination program as an offering a list of services, think about what you'd like to do with your life, the goals that are important to you, then identify what you need to reach those goals. There are many unique things with self-determination, like you can hire someone to help you go camping, to help you live on your own, or to help you start your own business, maybe to write a business plan or help you do marketing. You can take an art class. You can ask someone to help you make friends or even start a relationship. You can even get help in finding various activities like horseback riding lessons. Design services to reach your goals. You may not know that more than 200 people have already been participating in a pilot of this program since 1997 from 5 different regional centers. Again, there are a few things that need to happen before the program can be available to everybody. First, we need approval for the federal funding, which has been asked for through what the government calls a waiver. Receiving this funding is a requirement, and the program cannot expand until this is approved. Once approved, then 2,500 people will be randomly chosen to participate for the first 3 years of the program. After the first 3 years, the program will then be available to everyone. In the next few slides, we'll talk about how self-determination works and how you guide your goals and life through person-centered planning. We'll discuss some different parts of the self-determination program and some of the people who can help you. We'll go over person-centered planning and how you drive this process to meet your goals. We'll discuss the Regional Center Service Coordinator and the role and responsibility they will have in your person-centered planning. We'll talk about what an independent facilitator is, where you can find one, and what they can do for you. We'll go over financial management services and how they will help you with your money and services while a participant of self-determination. And we'll go over what an individual budget means and how it is determined. Person-centered planning is about your future and reaching your goals. Other people can have their opinions, but in the end, it's about you. You decide what's important to you to feel satisfied, fulfilled, and happy. You'll also think about what's important for you to be healthy, safe, and comfortable in your community. Effective person-centered planning balances the things you like and the things you need to work towards your goals. Lots of people can help you, like your family, friends, teachers, neighbors, boss, and more, but only if you want. Think about what's most important to you and your family. Once you've made your choices about what you want, an individual program plan or IPP is written based on the decisions you made. The IPP lays out your goals and what you need to reach those goals, including what services and supports you need to get there. Each person who receives services from a regional center has a service coordinator assigned to them to help with services and supports through the regional center system. Service coordinators are responsible for ensuring that the services and supports you've identified through person-centered planning are in your IPP. Both generic services and paid services will be in your IPP. Your service coordinator will help you determine your individual budget and will work with your independent facilitator if you choose to work with one. If you choose to not use an independent facilitator, your service coordinator can help you locate the services and supports you've identified that you need to work on towards your goals. If you choose to hire an independent facilitator, you pay for them from your individual budget. The independent facilitator can't provide you any other services. They need to be independent. However, you can choose to have your regional center service coordinator help you locate services and supports with no cost from your individual budget. Additionally, you can choose an independent facilitator that does not wish to be paid, like a friend or a family member. The independent facilitator can help you with many things, like advocating for you through the person-centered planning process, coordinating services and supports consistent with your plan, helping you make informed choices about the money in your budget, and helping you identify your needs and developing options to meet those needs. The individual budget is the amount of money you can use for your plan. Your plan will talk about what services and supports you need. The amount of money you receive for your budget is based on the cost of your services from the Regional Center in the last 12 months. It may be adjusted to support any prior needs or resources that were not addressed in the individual program plan. For people who are new to the Regional Center, their budget will be determined by the average cost that the Regional Center pays for each service, unless the person has a unique need that requires a higher or lower cost. Your budget amount may be adjusted up or down. For an example, if you have a big change in your life, like moving out to your own apartment, or you become very sick, or if you get a new job, let your team know your budget needs to be reviewed. Generic resources need to be used first before you use the money in your budget. A generic resource is something that's available to everyone, not just people who are served by the Regional Center. Things like education through the school district, health services through your health insurance, or personal care through in-home supported services. Remember, you also have friends, family, and other important people in your life who are also resources and who can help you too. The Financial Management Service Provider, or FMS provider, is the person who helps you manage the money in your individual budget. The FMS provider is the only required vendor service with the Regional Center. They can help you with many things, like making sure your service providers are qualified to help you, verifying that your provider has obtained a background clearance. Background clearances are required for all direct care providers, including family members who provide personal care to you. Service providers are responsible for the cost of the background check, but if someone you want to hire has already passed a background check, they may be able to use that clearance to provide services to you. And most importantly, they pay for your service providers with money from your budget, and they help you stay on track with your spending. In self-determination, you must have a financial management service provider. The cost for this will be paid by you out of your individual budget. But it's important to be aware that because the program provides so much flexibility in who provides services, the amount you pay for a service could be less under the self-determination program. You lead your team and decide how you will set and meet the goals for your life. You have a plan that is focused around you and your goals. You can choose many different people to help you, including an independent facilitator. Your independent facilitator can be a service you decide to pay for, a friend, a family member, or your Regional Center service coordinator. You have a set amount of money in your individual budget to help you pay for the services you need if generic services aren't available. Your financial management service provider is there to help you make sure the services you're getting are from qualified people and to pay for the services you've decided on. Your financial management service provider also helps you stay within your individual budget. If you are interested in participating in the rollout of the self-determination program, you've taken the first step by viewing this presentation. If you add your name to the list today, but end up deciding that self-determination is not right for you, you don't have to enroll if you were selected. It's okay to change your mind. Once the Department of Developmental Services, DDS, has added your name to the list, you'll receive a letter in the mail confirming that you are on the list. You can also check the DDS webpage by searching the database using your UCI number to make sure your name has been added. If you don't know your UCI number, please contact your service coordinator. If you haven't received a letter and your name isn't on the website, you can contact your Regional Center. Once federal funding is approved, the DDS will randomly select 2,500 names from the list to participate in the self-determination program. In order to make sure the group of people chosen for self-determination represents the statewide Regional Center population, there are certain factors that will be taken into account, like Regional Center, ethnicity, age, gender, and disability diagnosis. People whose names were chosen will be notified. If your name was not chosen, you can stay on the list of candidates and wait for a space in the program. If your name was chosen, you'll need to attend an orientation at your regional center where you'll learn even more about self-determination. Again, once selected, you'll need to attend an orientation at Tri-Counties Regional Center. At orientation, you'll learn more about the next steps of being part of the self-determination program. That includes meeting with your regional center service coordinator and the people you've asked to help you, friends, family, and your independent facilitator, if you've decided to have one. When you meet, the team you've asked to help you will help you determine your individual budget, and most importantly, your team will help you identify what your goals are for your life through the person-centered planning process. Also, your team will help you find the services and supports you'll need to meet your goals. They can help you identify the generic resources available to everyone, as well as find the services or supports you'll purchase with your individual budget. Your Regional Center Service Coordinator will work with you to make sure that your individual program plan or IPP shows the services and supports you've decided on. You guide your team in deciding how the self-determination program will work best for you. This is the number of estimated participants allocated to each regional center. The numbers will be redistributed once the waiver is approved based on each regional center's current population at that time. As you can see, currently, the number of clients allocated to TCRC is 114. This includes 14 who are currently in the self-determination pilot project already. If you have any questions about the material we've covered, please contact your service coordinator. Now that you have viewed this informational session, if you are interested in being considered as a participant in the first 3 years of the program, let's add your name to the list for DDS consideration. DDS requires us to gather some information about you, the regional center client. Please send an email to self-determination@tricounties.org with the following information included: your name, your mailing address, and your UCI, which means Unique Client Indicator, if you know it. Remember, if not selected when the program rolls out, after 3 years, this program will be available for all who are over age 3 and served by the Regional Center. If you have any questions, please contact your service coordinator. The self-determination program mailbox will be checked regularly. Your information will be forwarded to DDS to be added to the list of clients interested in participating in the first 3 years of the rollout. Once your information is received by DDS, you will receive a letter letting you know your name has been added to the official list. The list at DDS will be continuously updated. If you are not selected as one of the early participants, your name will remain on the list as an interested party. You may be chosen to participate at a later date should someone decide not to continue during those first 3 years. Remember, after the first 3 years, the self-determination program will be available to anyone interested in participating. You can learn more about the self-determination program by visiting the Department of Developmental Services website at www.dds.ca.gov/SDP. While on the DDS website, you can check that your name has been added to the official DDS list of interested clients by clicking on the Confirm You Are on the List link. Thank you for viewing this presentation. If you have any questions, you can send an email to sgp@dds.ca.gov or contact your service coordinator.